How could they do this? Why would they do such a thing? I was such a loyal and supportive fan of the Pixel brand. I don't understand. I knew something was up when an awesome fellow YouTuber of mine, Viper, got his Team Pixel supply box and mine never showed up. I've emailed them several times. Google's not responded to any of my emails and they told me nothing, which I think is the easiest way to accept the fact that I am no longer a part of Team Pixel, ladies and gentlemen. So I guess it marks the end of an era. Maybe they didn't like my new office. I can't blame them, but I don't know how to move on for this because Pixel has always made such beautiful and consistently enjoyable products that I have no idea I'm gonna live without being a part of Team Pixel. But that's okay because I bought one anyway. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna be unboxing the Pixel 3a XL. Now allow us to begin with the plastic on the back. So there's these little plastic tabs as per usual that you can just peel off and then you should just be able to lift. I got the maxed out version, by the way, max storage configuration, all of the pro features that the 3A has to offer. I got the XL size and there you have the face of it on the top there. It's definitely not purple. That's what they should have called it because the color I would describe this isn't purple-ish because it looks more white than purple. I would more consider this like you're looking at the color white, but someone in the room across from you is thinking of the color purple. And it honestly just looks like I have bad lighting, which I do, but it doesn't help that. So let's peel off the plastic here. I'll get it close to the mic. And there you have it. There is the front of the Pixel 3a XL. Leave that plastic over here. Inside the box we have, of course, regular Google instructions. I'm sure there's a SIM ejector tool in there. We've got USB-C charge port, and we've got the oh my god. We have the USB-C charge brick as well. Now, someone told me on Twitter that these Pixel 3a phones come with headphones in the box, but I do not see any. I wonder why. On the website, it said they came with 3.5mm headphone jack buds, because obviously with the Pixel 3a, the headphone jack on the top of the phone has made a return. And you can definitely tell from holding it like this that it's plastic, just feeling the way the texture of the back of the phone is. And oh, there we have it. There's our big chin without a speaker again. Haven't had a Pixel phone with the chin without a speaker since the original Pixel 1, but we also haven't had a Pixel with a headphone jack since the Pixel 1, so they're bringing back all kinds of tradition with this. I swear someone posted a picture that said that earbuds come with the Pixel 3a, and I don't see them anywhere. I'll have to go do a follow-up on that. So for those of you who for some reason may not know, the smaller size Pixel 3a starts at $399, which personally, even as an Apple sheep and someone who is not a big fan of Pixel products, I think that's very reasonable for the type of hardware they're giving you. It's not great, but $399 is pretty hard to beat in the budget market. Are there Androids with better price points? Of course there are. In fact, you're probably better off if you're in the $400 budget buying some type of older phone that's not been opened yet. You can buy old refurbished or even just new ones that haven't been unboxed yet. You will be able to find lots of good devices in that price range, but there's some people out there who won't do research and will literally just walk into carrier stores and wonder what the latest phone is, and when they see a new phone that has come out that happens to be very cheap, I'm sure a ton of people are going to feel inclined to upgrade. So I'll set up my Pixel 3a here pretty quick. Build impressions, you know, the funny thing is, for those of you who don't know, I did the Pixel Challenge last November where I used the Pixel 3 as my daily driver for an entire month. I don't plan on doing that with this phone, but because of the glossy finish they did on the glass on the back of the Pixel 3, it actually doesn't look or feel too much different with the 3a. It definitely feels a little cheaper, maybe just because it's lighter and I'm used to phones having that kind of glass textured back, but yeah, this one definitely still feels solid. I don't feel like it's popping or cracking at this point anytime yet. So I just typed in my Wi-Fi password on the thing, and the taptics also feel pretty decent. Pretty much the same as the full-size Pixel 3. But as a lot of people are definitely going to be interested in the 3a because of this lower starting price. However, I encourage people who are considering it and thinking, oh, I really like the Pixel 3, but it's just too expensive. Now I want to get the 3a. Consider the prices of the Pixel 3 if you go over on Amazon. Google phones in particular set some records when it comes to depreciation appreciating value, and the Pixel 3 has been out for a long time. So if you go on Amazon, you can find a regular sized Pixel 3 with 64 gigs, just like this, for about $450. That's usually where they're starting. Keep in mind, that's not a used phone. That's still new. And if you can tolerate the notch and you want to go into developer settings and turn off the notch, you can get a Pixel 3 XL for just $500. So if you consider looking into the third-party market, you will find the Pixel 3, which in a lot of ways has advantages over the 3A, for not that different of a price point, but I know out of principle some people will just never do that. I'm already hearing the speakers as I'm tapping around the setup screen, and they sound okay so far. It says adding finishing touches here. The display from this distance does look decent. Of course, it's OLED. It's a pretty high pixel per inch for a $399 device. And there you have it. We are all set up. We can swipe up to access our multitasking. Oh God, I'm still not used to that Android multitasking weird gesture thing. But there you have it. Let's open up the cameras here because that's all anyone really cares about. Oh wow, did you guys see that? When you're using the normal camera, it looks like this. But then as soon as you activate portrait mode, it zooms in very drastically, which is kind of interesting. They must be pretty confident that the sensor size is good. So let's do a real basic test. I'm just going to hold up my iPhone here. I'm gonna hold it in front of the Pixel and take a picture. Open it up like this. Let's see how long it takes to process. It did take a few seconds, but most people are likely going to be very comfortable with that waiting time. It's not going to be that bad. I'll try out the portrait mode option here. This is the front-facing camera and the only front-facing camera. All right, opening up the portrait. It's processing there. And boom. Takes a good 3 to 4 seconds every time you take a picture, which in my opinion is a little bit worser of an experience compared to Galaxies and iPhones, which have real-time rendering where you can see the portrait shot before you take it, whereas almost nothing the Pixel does is in real time. But the finished result is still, no doubt, very, very good for a $400, well, this one in particular is a $470 device, but you would get this same performance on the cheaper model as well. Bokeh did a pretty good job. The one thing I noticed Pixels always do is they kind of ultra blur the bokeh, whereas maybe something I've just gotten used to with my iPhone XS is they blur out things that are behind you a lot more drastically than the things that are closer to you, which in my opinion is more true to life to how an actual camera works. But still, without a doubt, that's just nitpicking. The camera is good, no question there. In regards to video performance though, I have seen some mixed results. I also find the camera settings funny that they go panorama, portrait, camera. It's like, aren't we in the camera already? And then video. I guess camera just means pictures, but I wanted to see if video mode would let me change frame rates or resolutions, which I guess it doesn't, but this is the first video test we're doing on the Pixel 3a XL. How do I sound? How's that microphone? Okay, we ended the video. It's processing here. Well, the speakers sound pretty good. Let's go to camera settings here. Video stabilization is on by default. The front camera video resolution is 1080 at 30. And the back camera, again, is 720, 1080, or 4K. And then they put in parentheses 4K at 30, even though I don't see the options here for the other frame rates. So flipping it around. Hey, did they change it finally? 30 frames a second versus 60. Good. Now they can finally toggle that on and leave it on. Thank you, Google. Maybe they watched my review. See, they should be thanking me. Why did I get kicked out of Team Pixel, Google? I don't know, but there's their AI enhanced zoom. With my Pixel 3 and 3XL, for whatever reason in that version of Android, it was 30 FPS in auto. There was no 60 option. Luckily, it seems they brought the 60 FPS option back. Please, Google, leave it there. I'm still not entirely comfortable with the gesture controls on Android. I know you can change it. I'm just reminding myself what a Pixel device is like. Interesting choice with the neon power button. I guess they thought that contrasted well with the purple, but Fingerprint Reader looks pretty small actually, kind of tiny on the back there, but I'm a fan of bigger screens, so I like that this ships with a fairly large display, though you have to admit it is a very traditional old-fashioned design. Even if you consider phones like the Poco phone that came out last year, that still has a pretty futuristic design. It's not the best out there, but it's still in the budget territory, and with this display and this forehead and this chin, they definitely took the let's play it safe route. Let's not try to do any notches or do anything fancy with the display. display. Let's just do a simple, basic, it's a display that works. It's much more symmetrical than the 3XL, which I may add. And now I think would be a good time to do a speaker test because they're not both front-facing like the Pixel 3, but I never thought those front-facing speakers sounded that great anyway. And it wants me to update YouTube out of the box. Okay. I did read some articles this morning that detailed how people have found evidence via the software that's already pre-installed on the Pixel 3As that these clearly were meant to be shipped like 2 months ago, but they got delayed for some reason. They're not exactly sure what the reason was. Maybe they were working out terms and conditions with carriers, but there's lots of articles you can look up that said the Pixel 3A was certainly delayed. It was meant to come out in March, but something held them back. Let's play the latest video from Tailosive Music, if you guys didn't know about. Promotes some really good artists. Let's play it here. The buttons definitely have a lot of pressure they need in order to click. Maybe I'm just used to my iPhones, but they require a good amount of force. The funny thing about listening to music with these stereo speakers is that I cannot even tell that they're not front-facing anymore, which once again just kind of makes this phone very decent and makes the full-price Pixel 3 feel rather useless for a lot of people. I feel bad for anyone who bought the Pixel 3 now because you can get so much of what the Pixel 3 had to offer with a phone like this. So to recap, for those of you who don't know about a lot of the compromises of the Pixel 3a XL, there's no more water resistance, there's no more wireless charging, even though it's plastic, which you could do inductive charging with. They wanted to save money, which is understandable given the incredibly ambitious starting price. Of course, you still have that standard forehead and chin. Yeah, the speakers aren't front-facing, but with my rough demo of it, I couldn't tell. The speakers sound perfectly decent. Very, very good for a budget product. I can understand what reviewers meant by it doesn't feel super cheap because the build quality is still relatively decent. The phone feels solid. The phone feels very rigid and put together. It doesn't feel like it's about to fall apart at any moment. I just activated the squeeze feature, which I guess you can still do even though it's plastic. The display does not look pixelated, but I've never been a sucker for displays and I use the iPhone XR for several months, so this is obviously not a downgrade. The color calibration looks good. I still have some weird opinions about Android 9, stock Android that is. I really prefer Samsung's skin over Android as a user interface, but I'll try to get used to the Pixel 3 again. I don't think I'm gonna use it as my daily driver for a month. The taptics feel good. They feel like a premium phone would with the very quiet but very noticeable taptics when you type on a keyboard or where you activate multitasking. Headphone jack is back, but I have no intention on using it. I don't even have headphones that do that anymore. But it's certainly there if you'd like, and the camera first impressions seem to be just as good as the flagship Pixel 3. So overall, as you guys can probably tell, I do think this is a much better buy than the flagship Pixel 3s were. This is definitely where I think Google's strong case is. They're clearly not very good at doing premium hardware, i.e. Pixel Slate, Pixel Book, Pixel phones, but this is more of a step in the direction that I think Google has a better argument for. They very much care about artificial intelligence and machine learning and not doing things in real time with the camera, but doing a lot of post-processing to give it flagship-like features. So to me, advertising a lot of flagship-like features in a more budget package is a much better angle for them to go at, and I think a ton of people out there who maybe don't look on Amazon or don't look at Cricket to find lower price, older smartphones that are probably better performing than this. People that are just going to walk into carrier stores and want to buy the latest Android and want to buy something that just came out. They're going to see the price tag available here and they're going to do the rough demo and they're going to use the phone briefly and check out and say, oh, you can buy a cheap phone with a very decent camera for still images. That's going to get most of what you need done throughout the day, and I could see a ton of people upgrading to this one, whereas the full price Pixel 3, I honestly feel like they should just stop selling it at this point. It serves no purpose in the lineup. Anyways, that's my first impressions and first hands-on look with the recently released Pixel 3a. If you guys watching this video on your Pixel 3as, let me know what you think of it. There's definitely a lot of hardware compromises involved with this device, but given its starting price is literally half that of the last phone they released, I think that's pretty ambitious, and ultimately I don't think it was the hardware that was really at fault with the last Pixel. It was more just the lack of optimization that Google did with the hardware. They didn't optimize the software to work well with the hardware. Maybe they can change that. Maybe they can respond to a lot of my criticisms and make a more streamlined, more consistent experience with the Pixel 3a, and I will keep you posted if I run into lots of issues with it. So thank you guys for watching. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you in the next one, and goodbye, Team Pixel.